look back on all those times, think of the things we'll never do. There will never be a day when I won't think angel of music, guide and guardian, lend to me your glory. Father once spoke of an angel. I used to dream he'd appear. Now as I sing, I can sense him, and I know he's here. Music, guide and guardian, lend to me your glory. Music, guide no longer, secret and strange endure. In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came, that voice which calls to me and speaks my name. And do I dream again? For now I find that is there inside my mind. Inside your mind. No more talk of darkness, forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here, nothing can harm you. My words will warm and calm you. Promise me that all you say is true. That's all I ask of.
Attention, please. I am Grand Marshal Jonathan Krasno, and I would like to call to order the commencement of the Harper College of Arts and Sciences of the State University of New York at Binghamton. Everyone, please rise as you are able. We welcome you to join vocalists Raya Ballander, Val Lasser, and Esther Zola Nikolic in singing the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, what the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner yet flying o'er the land of the free and the home of
Everyone, please be seated.
Good afternoon. I'm Dean Celia Klin. This is a special ceremony as we bring together our master's and baccalaureate candidates, as well as their families and friends. Congratulations to you all. Before we proceed with the ceremony, I would like to welcome members of the Binghamton University Council who are joining us today. Please hold your applause until both have been introduced. Catherine Grant Madigan, Chair, and Linda Beamer. I would also like to introduce our other special guests who sit with us on the stage this afternoon. They will stand as I call their names, and again, please hold your applause until all have been introduced. President Harvey Stenger, Donald Hall, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Raya Ballander, Student Speaker, Greg Delvicio, Vice President for Communications and Marketing, Andrea Falcone, Dean, University Libraries, Karen Jones, Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, John Cook, Vice President for Advancement, Jonathan Krasno, Grand Marshal, Professor of Political Science, and Chair, Faculty Senate Executive Committee, Andre Mathis, Professional Staff Senate, Pam Mission, Platform Party Marshal, Professor Environmental Studies and Chief Sustainability Officer, Lee Ronaldo, Honorary Degree Recipient, Brian Rose, Vice President for Student Affairs, Lisa Rothi, Senior Lecturer, Theater, Kara Tridell, Alumni Association President. Please join me in applauding these special guests. Will all faculty on the stage and in the audience please rise as you are able. I would like to recognize all of the esteemed faculty members who have mentored and guided our graduates. Your efforts have been crucial to the intellectual growth and achievements we celebrate today. We would also like to acknowledge the efforts of our staff, many of whom are here today volunteering at this ceremony. Please join me as we applaud their support of and dedication to the success of our students. And finally, I would like to thank the Binghamton University Wind Symphony, our vocalists, and the Broome County Celtic Pipes and Drums for their participation in today's celebration. Again, welcome to our celebration of the Harper College of Arts and Sciences class of 2024. It is now my pleasure to introduce President Harvey Stenger.
Thank you, Celia. Good afternoon, and welcome to a celebration of the graduates of the Harper College Arts and Sciences. Congratulations to the class of 2024. We are proud of the achievements of the students whose work we recognize today. I want to thank the faculty and staff who have educated, mentored, supported, and guided our graduates. Your efforts were crucial to the intellectual growth of these students and paved the way for their successes. I also want to welcome and thank the parents, grandparents, family, and friends who join us here today to share in watching a loved one reach an important life milestone. Your endless support allowed your graduate to reach their goals and persevere through these years of challenging study. Thank you for being there for them. While this feels like the end of a journey for the graduates, we call it a commencement because it is a beginning of a new chapter of your life. And the degree that you receive today is symbolic to the world. It symbolizes that you have achieved the level of expertise and experience that will allow you to advance in your chosen discipline. During your time here, you delved into theory and practice and started to truly discover your passion. That process required a great deal of hard work, of investing and engaging in your subject matter. I think you've also spent your time in other important ways, joining a club, playing a sport, meeting new people, and making lifelong friends. These activities have given you other intellectual outlets that help you see the world in a new light. Wherever you go from here, whether you are jumping straight into a career or pursuing another degree, know that you are ready for your next step. Know, too, that the nation and the world needs your talents, and you are ready. I know you are because I've seen what you've done being capable of students. You're ready to make the world better, one decision at a time. So let me be the first to welcome you into this new chapter of your life. I look forward to learning of your many successes and hope that you will remain steadfast members of the Binghamton University community. Congratulations, class of 2024, Harper College. At this time, I'd like to introduce Provost Donald Hall.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to be among those celebrating with you today as Chief Academic Officer of Binghamton University. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate all of our graduates and their families and their friends who have supported them along the way in their time here on the many, many achievements that we're recognizing today. You are truly remarkable students who have brought your intellectual curiosity, your work ethic, and your sense of humor to bear throughout your time here. As you graduate from Binghamton, you will take with you what you've learned in your classes, through your internships and practica, from the student organizations you've participated in, and from the thousands of personal interactions you've had with all of those around you. I know that you will take all of these experiences and become change makers in the world. We are all living in a very different environment since the pandemic upended our lives, but your Binghamton education and experiences will serve you well, whether you continue on into the workforce or on to other educational pursuits. According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, 83% of employers anticipating increasing or maintaining their rate of hiring for the class of 2024 compared to just a year ago. That same organization reports 90% of employers are looking for evidence that applicants can solve problems, and 80% are seeking those who have strong teamwork skills. That's also great news for you because you're leaving us with a strong foundation that has helped you hone your critical thinking, decision-making, and communication skills, and that will serve you well in whatever career path you follow. As you've prepared throughout your time here to tackle what's ahead, the next questions you're probably facing are, what do I want my work life to look like? How will I maintain a work-life balance? My advice to you is to follow your passion. Do what feeds your soul. Make your decisions always the best ones possible from the choices that are before you, but as you put your way forward, remember to define your value to your prospective employers. Show them that you know well how to solve problems, that you know how to work in teams, that you learn to be a leader at Binghamton, and that you're a great communicator. These are all skills that came from your education in the liberal arts, and I can't say enough about them. These skills will serve you well in whatever endeavors you undertake. So thank you for choosing Binghamton. It has been a pleasure to have you here as our students. Congratulations on your many accomplishments, and please, please stay in touch with us and keep us informed about your many, many successes in the future. I know they're going to be there, and we really, really thank you for being our students. So congratulations all.
Thank you, Provost Hall. I would now like to invite President Stenger back to the podium to present our honorary degree recipient.
Honorary degrees recognize individuals who, by their outstanding service to the university, the state, the country, and humanity, exemplify the mission and purposes of Binghamton University. Their lives and achievements stand as inspiration to us all. I am pleased to announce this afternoon that we will confer one of these honorary degrees. Provost Hall, will you please escort our honorary degree recipient to the podium, Lee Ronaldo. Yes, good spot. Tap, tap.
On microphone. The citation that will accompany his diploma reads, "The State University of New York, Lee Ronaldo. As a distinguished alumnus, guitarist, Grammy-nominated musician, music producer, artist, and poet, your passion for innovation and experimentation has influenced generations of fans. In 1981, you were a co-founder of Sonic Youth, a band that revolutionized the music world and generations of music lovers for over 30 years. You created entirely new genres of popular music, indie, alternative, and grunge. Your contributions to creating a new musical landscape were recognized by Rolling Stone and Spin magazines, both of which named you to their list of the greatest guitarists of all time. As a solo musician, you've released dozens of recordings and have collaborated with and produced music for countless musicians. You've been nominated for Grammys for your introduction to Music of Morocco from the Library of Congress, recorded by Paul Bowles, and as executive producer of For the Birds, the Birdsong Project. You've written books of poetry, and your visual and audio art have been exhibited in galleries around the world. Therefore, in recognition of your visionary contributions to our culture through your music, your art, and your creative perspective on the world, the State University of New York is pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Music, honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the State University Board of Trustees, with the faculty of the State University of New York concurring, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Music honoris causa and invest you with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto. In token thereof, I hand you a diploma and vest you with the appropriate hood for your degree. It's all yours. My turn? You got it. Thank you, Harvey.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to be back in Binghamton, and I'd like to thank the university and the president for this honorary degree. It means a lot to me. It's funny that I get a degree in music, as I didn't study music here in Binghamton. But music has always been a part of my life since I was a child, and it's been one of the greatest passions of my life, I have to say. I came to Binghamton, I'm class of 78. I came to Binghamton in the fall of 1974, and I spent my first year cultivating a really wonderful group of friends here. I found my friends here in my first year in Binghamton, many of whom I'm still very close friends with today. And the social side of coming to a university center like Binghamton, it can't be stressed enough. I found my friends that first year, but I didn't really find my direction. I came in as a math and sciences student, something I excelled at in high school, but I struggled that first year with the giant classes and the workload, and I mean, I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. My second year, I found my direction and purpose here. That's served me well for the rest of my life. I noticed that the only people I knew here on campus, the only other students I knew who were actually happy and having a good time were the creatives, the people I knew who were in the art department or the cinema department, the dancers, the musicians. And they were the only ones who weren't banging their heads in the common rooms, studying stressfully for tests, and looking towards something that was going to come to them in the future. No diss to anyone here who's in STEM, probably a lot of you, but I found my friends and my purpose in the art department. I spent my days learning to draw and to paint, learning to make prints, and learning to see and understand the world in a way that opened up pretty much every subject imaginable. The art department in Binghamton in the mid-70s was an underground secret, a secret art department. No, I don't think many people came to Binghamton to study art at that time, but the faculty here was superb, and the teachers and the lessons I learned from them have stayed with me for my whole life. I studied studio art here in Binghamton, as well as cinema and philosophy, and I wanted to mention some of my most beloved teachers from that time, names you probably will have never heard, but nonetheless. In the art department, I studied with Professor Linda Sokolowski and Angelo Ippolito, Charles Eldred, and Don DeMoro, among many others. In the cinema department, also a brand new department at that time, fairly new, founded in the late 60s, experimental cinema department, not a Hollywood cinema department. I hear it's still going strong. I'm really happy about that. I studied with Ken Jacobs in the cinema department and Larry Gottheim. And I studied philosophy, Zen Buddhism, and ontological analysis with Dr. William Pesanti. All of these professors had profound effect on my life, and I could not say enough good things about them or thank them enough. Angelo Ippolito, who was the lead in the Department of Painting at that time, gave us some advice one day in first year sessions when we were really just learning how to paint. He was holding up a painting by a classmate of mine and saying, "We've got our first masterpiece of the season, of the semester." You know, he was holding up a painting that he really liked a lot and thought was really nice. And one of my fellow students said something along the lines of, "Well, I don't have the talent to do something like that." And Angelo said, "Listen, you got to leave your talent at the door and just show up every day ready to work." This is one of the most the strongest lessons I take away from this place. Be ready to work every day. Be ready to do your best and really give your all to what you're working on. It was said, follow your passion. I hope for all of you that you've had really broad experiences here in Binghamton, been able to sample a lot of what the university has to offer both in and out of your chosen discipline, had a real liberal arts education. I can't say enough about the value of that. I found myself dedicated to my art studies, but at the same time, in that period, mid-70s, late 70s, a lot of stuff was happening south of here in New York. There was a whole new music scene that was percolating, really innovative new music that was exciting myself and many of my classmates here. And I found myself in a local band called The Flux. And we started playing around town, on campus, off campus. We played a show in what was then called the Social Room. I think it's now Mandela Room. And what started as kind of a return to things I'd done in my high school as a hobby or an extracurricular activity became more and more essential to who I was and to what I wanted to do with my life. After Binghamton, I moved to New York City and joined an incredible community of artists and musicians, painters, writers, dancers, and people making cinema. But everyone from all these different disciplines at that point was coming together in the music clubs because we'd all grown up on music, as I'm sure most of you have. It's always been essential. I never thought at that point it was something I could dedicate my life to. It seemed an impossible dream. But all of these young people were, for the most part, university trained in the ways of modern art, the ways of modern culture, ready to make their mark, but also ready to push things a little bit further, push envelopes and challenge ideas of normalcy. Among my friends in New York at the time were a list of people that have gone on to great things in many different fields. But we all came together at that point in the clubs. And soon I met my two colleagues, Thurston Moore and Kim Gordon, and we founded Sonic Youth. Now, thanks. We were not trained as musicians. We were trained in various art forms, and we were artists by training, but we were musicians as well, and we were musicians making art music. Now, as far as Sonic Youth goes, the two things I'm probably most known for are, one, being a character on The Simpsons, getting to speak with Homer on the air, and making a racket with an electric guitar. And both of those are true. My band certainly played wildly experimental and sometimes crazed rock and roll, a version of rock and roll that was our own. But we were also very serious, deadly serious about what we were doing, and we were putting in a lot of work at it. We were, as I said, we were trained in modern art. We were drawing from the new painting. We were drawing from the cinema and from literature, everything we were reading. We were drawing from conceptual art practices, and we were using music as our medium. Today, it's more accepted in the museums that music and musicians are part of that cultural framework. But at the time, it wasn't always seen so. And a lot of what we were doing in the early days was called noise. Exactly what they called A Rite of Spring when Stravinsky premiered it, or what they called Coltrane when he played at the Blue Note in New York. It just meant the times hadn't caught up, the thinking of the times hadn't caught up with where the cultural movement was. In Sonic Youth, we tuned our guitars to our own idiosyncratic tunings and had a sound that separated us apart from everyone else. And that was the first step. We didn't sound like anyone else, and we didn't really think like anyone else on the music scene. We wanted to bring in all of the concerns that excited and motivated us. So when we would have occasions to do interviews, and the interviewers always want you to tell about yourself and tell what you're doing, we would always kind of sidestep that. We wanted to talk about the things we were excited about in the larger world. We wanted to talk about the books we were reading and the movies we were seeing, the other bands we were going to see, dance performances. We wanted to create an inclusive environment where we were bringing in as many of the things that were important to us and we loved as possible, and wanted to share those things with anyone who was interested. You're going to go off today and do all kinds of different things with your lives. I would say for myself that my time in Binghamton was one of the most wonderful periods in my life. I honestly feel that it gave me the direction and purpose to go forward with the rest of my life, not just as a musician, but as a member of the community of arts creators around the world. And I take pride in being a member of the global community of artists and musicians. It's been really wonderful to come back to Binghamton this past weekend, visit some of the old haunts, meet with some students and faculty here, get an idea of how much the university has grown since the days when I was here. It's grown a lot. It's a lot bigger place than it was then, and it seems like a lot stronger place. I met with an old faculty member who was one of my instructors this morning in Binghamton. And that was a really wonderful reunion. And I'm still in touch with a few different faculty members from my time here. I was very overjoyed to see the creation just this year, I believe, of a new Center for the Arts here in Binghamton that combines the art department and the music department, the cinema department, dance and theater under one heading. Like I said, when I was a student here, all of that was quite separate and individual, and although some of the departments were talking to each other, some of them weren't, even though they were all in creative fields. And so for me to come back and find out that there's a new push to bring this creative side of Binghamton. I mean, Binghamton is well lauded as an academic school, but I think there's the potential for Binghamton to be a center for the creativity and the creative arts as well. So I'm very, very happy for that. Really, really happy for that. I tried to look up some of the old houses I lived in off campus, but most of them have been torn down at this point. There's a couple of funny stories about that, but I'm not going to take the time today to tell those. I just want to close by saying that my time here in Binghamton really planted the seeds in me of commitment and creativity, community and collaboration. And from this humble section of Broome County, those notions led me to New York City and then on into the rest of the world. This degree for me brings a lot of things full circle. And you know, I spent 4 years here and got an undergraduate degree, and I've spent a lot longer before getting this degree, but I think in a way, having this degree bestowed on me now folds back in the notion that when you leave here, you don't really stop being a student or being engaged with the world around you. And so I take this degree as an acknowledgement of the engagement that I've been part of for the last 45 years since I left Binghamton. And it all started right here. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all the graduates.
Thank you, Lee, for your inspired remarks. That was lovely. I would now like to introduce our Alumni Association President, Kara Tridell. Kara would like to share congratulations on behalf of the Alumni Association.
Congratulations to you, Binghamton's class of 2024. It is truly an honor to be sharing this occasion with you as the president of your Alumni Association. It's hard to believe that just 8 years ago, I was sitting where you are, feeling the same emotions as you. I was excited to begin my next phase, but sad to be leaving friends and a place that became second home to me. It was also overwhelming to think about the many adjustments I'd have to make in moving from campus life to being out in the world, including moving back in with my mom and dad. Our alumni community has been a tremendous source of support for me. It's why I've continued to be engaged with the university and why I encourage everyone else to stay involved. I acknowledge that I'm standing before you quite young, and I have to be honest that when I was elected to become the president of your alumni association, I was nervous. I was nervous about leading a group filled with so many achievements and accolades while I was still growing into my own self. What I quickly found was that I had no reason to be nervous. I was, and continue to be, surrounded by a community that provides endless support, encourages success, and celebrates wins. By graduating today, you are automatically a member of this community, the Alumni Association. Inside your diploma cover, you'll find a card that talks about what is available to you. In addition to the friends you've made here on campus, you have a worldwide network of alumni that you could tap into. More than 150,000 people across more than 100 countries. Wherever you go, there's likely to be a Binghamton grad who can offer support, answer questions, or simply chat about your shared Binghamton experiences. What I like to say is don't be shy about reaching out. I know I'm typically not. In addition, there are many opportunities to stay connected with the university, and you don't need to be here on campus to appreciate such. The Alumni Association connects you with other Binghamton alumni, helps build skills that can translate to your professional life, and expand your network. Overall, we are a resource that I encourage you to take advantage of, even if it's simply connecting with us on LinkedIn or stopping by our tent during homecoming. Enjoy today with your family and friends. Experience all the feels, and know that you're ready for whatever life brings you. You're a Bearcat, you could do this. Again, congratulations, your Alumni Association is excited to have you.
Thank you, Kara. At this time, we will recognize the accomplishments of our master's degree candidates. Will the candidates for master's degrees from the Harper College of Arts and Sciences please rise? President Stenger, as Dean of the Harper College of Arts and Sciences, I am pleased to present to you these candidates who have fulfilled all their master's degree requirements as prescribed by the faculty. School Marshal Pamela Smart, please lead the master's candidates to the platform so that all may receive recognition for their academic achievement.
Cameron Mark Gironda. Sabrina Michelle Reba. Wolfgang Schwallenberg. Chefung Luo. Joshua F. Amir. Stephen Christopher McKnight. Alnara Glozeniva. Celesta Sibi. Laura Ferrero Torres. Camber Leisha Felton. Ali Sadeki. Matthew George Marola. Annette Jin Resk. Jessica E. Beskid. Jillian Marie Fitri. Mercedes Michelle Goodwin. Adam Joseph Benjamin. Jeremy Daniel Andrews. Cassandra Lopez.
President Stenger, as Dean of the Harper College of Arts and Sciences, I am honored to present to you these candidates for master's degrees.
For those who have successfully completed all degree requirements by the authority vested in me by the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York and the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York, I confer on each of you the appropriate master's degree with all the rights and privileges which pertain to that degree here and elsewhere. On behalf of the Binghamton University community, I congratulate you all for this well-earned accomplishment. Congratulations.
The recipients of master's degrees from Harper College of Arts and Sciences may be seated. At this time, we will recognize the accomplishments of our baccalaureate degree candidates. First, we will recognize students who have achieved Latin honors. We recognize 3 levels of achievement: cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. The names of the candidates for these honors appear in the commencement program. Over 1,100 Harper College students are candidates for Latin honors, so we will not announce each by name. But we shall recognize students attending today by having them stand in place. So first, candidates graduating cum laude, please rise. You may be seated. And next, candidates graduating magna cum laude, please rise. You may be seated. And finally, candidates graduating summa cum laude, please rise. You may be seated. My congratulations to all of you on your outstanding academic achievements. Latin honors are based on a student's cumulative grade point average. Students who have earned the distinction of departmental honors or distinguished independent work have achieved academic excellence and have been recognized by the faculty in their major department. Now, I ask for all the baccalaureate degree candidates in the following departments to please rise: Art and Design, Art History, Biochemistry, Chemistry, Cinema, Global and International Affairs, History, Latin American and Caribbean Area Studies, Music, Sociology, and Theater. President Stenger, as the Dean of Harper College, I am pleased to present to you these candidates who have fulfilled all their baccalaureate degree requirements as prescribed by the faculty. Student Marshal Eve Albert, please lead the candidates to the platform so that all may receive recognition for their academic achievement.
Eve Alexandria Albert. Justin Robert Salas. Gabriela Nesa Wanzer. Addie Phoenix. Emily Jin Yin Lai. Yunwoo Son. Kyra Grays. Dinelle Adesh Grant. Elena Mingxiang Mishao. Brooke Carol Bernacki. Caitlin Ada Mary Brown. Hannah Vico Kondo. Sarah Rose Nagel. Feifei Friedman. Mara Jo Warford. Shelley Sarak. Sarah Rosbach. Justin Wei Wong. Jade Nora Curdahy. Ria DaCosta. Alexa Valadez. Fiona Teresa Sullivan. Fahim Rahman. Giovanna Ferreira Mitchell. Samantha Deanna Ballin. Caitlin Grace Smith. Santa Barbara Maslar. Madison May Moore. Evelyn Medina. Emmy Stifel Alperin. Emanuela Codua. Constantina I. Siskos. Isabella Lynn Dedon. Gabriella Catherine Harbord. Cian Melvin Lewis Smith Thomas. Ajane Johnson. Ashley Pinales. Dory Taver Fogel. Haley Grace Eggleston. Gabriela Garcia Herrera. Catherine Elizabeth Keogh. DeAndre Dale Stewart. Elsa Amarati. Sonia Alexandra Levy. Zachary Vincent Jijong Marsh. Justin Kyle Tang. Isak Hurtik. Sanjay Lee. Sampada Subedi. Brandy Chan. Noah Patrick Walsh. Chloe Mary Vecchio. Autumn Jacqueline Weston. Eleni Maria Castamanettis. Megan Sorbellini. Juliet Athena Sakmar Aberg. Moshe Sergei Buxbaum Kruger. Aaron Berkowitz. Justin G. Hutchko. Matthew L. Daugaudio. Tabitha Ania Gregg. Kate Elizabeth Vogeli. Megan D. Pan. Anna Louis. Judith Jiangsu Cassidy. Israel Bolanos Mendez. Kevin Joseph Fitzpatrick. Taylor Emily Denning. Evelyn Gail Schillinglaw. Zoe Michelle Congdon. Elizabeth Cheryl Rose Fritzen. Katie Scarlett McDonald. Maureen Riley Fieldhouse. Andrew M. Moran. Megan Elizabeth Barber. Oliver Chin. Alexander John Chakalchoff. Daniel Klepsis. Henry Michael Shemet. Michael Stephen Zanarini. Benjamin Perino Sobolewski. James Jason Russo. Brendan Quinn Jager. Zachary Isaac Larson. Dylan James Patty. Nusrat Islam. Christina Marie Shaka. Grace Helen Coulter. Coral Braverman. Hudson Joshua Jakubowicz. Samin Mushvin Rahman. Shen Chen. Michael Shao. Elizabeth Rose Arena. Beyonce Otero. Sandy Sridhara. Min Hoong Win. Asha Sam Philip. Luke James Pierce. Jillian Lan Karlachek. Lindsay Marie Weissman. Lindsay Rose Walter. Carolyn Fata. Serena Alexandria Gay. Michael Ostrowski. Ellie Arvelo Reyes. Ellie. Kyle Thomas Berry. Samantha Marie Morato. Elena Drennan. Elle Marie Bean. Gianna Olivia McManus. Brittany D. Mudge. Brian David Snyder. Nicholas Alexander Rikshavich. Kiana Trisha White. Yura Cho. Sarah Ann Matesic. Anna Beth Dunnett. Abigail Lillian Kaiser. Lauren Elizabeth Macchio. Lydia Corinne Chase. Lynn Lee. Noemi Pedraza. Hannah Mei Ting Win. Liao Yang. Emma Sophie Lorber. Kweku Darkwa. Samantha Agnes Sylvain. Yingqi Ding. Claudia Grace Stefana. Daniela Sophia DiCarlo. Justin Nedlick. Andrew D. Frangella. Elijah Goldenberg. Matthew Michael Bone. Charlie Isabel Fitzpatrick. Elizabeth Boyce Borzelleri. Nicholas Webb. Alyssa Pitter. Zachary James Jacob. Garrett Edward Eckert. Nathan Christopher Leonard. Thomas John Cypro. Joseph Romero. Alexis Slagle. Thomas James Holland. Brett William McNellis. Ari Samuel Quinn. Raphael J. Katigbak. Bora Sinan. Ekrem Khan Asfar. Misal Kalechi. Hunter J. Dukat. Cole Catalano. Sidranth Danaraj. Tyler Gibbons. Cody Green McAvoy. Harrison R. Puckett. Elijah Jacob Engler. Megan Galante. Jacob William Moon. Anthony Morea. Robert Alexander Varga. Stephen James Subin. Rebecca L. Gavin. Eric Augustus Jerenswald. Brian D. Landino Navis. Gregory John King. Christian John Wert. Emma Victoria Andrews. Ariel Jane Moreau. James Francis Kearns. Ryan Harvey. Yuanglang Xu. William Lewis Payne. Wyatt Anthony Pitarelli. Louise Maria de Virgilio. Gregory Paul Holbert. Samuel Kristen Shaw. Stephanie Nicole Eisenstein. Ruby Miranda Davis. Emma Patricia Connolly. Michael Anthony DiFiore. Kristen Melissa Wolf. Crystal Yingling Yi. Christoval Guerra. Devin Deanna Jenks. Benjamin Mehdi So. Thomas Medlarts. Aaron Walker Kruk. Benjamin Golden. Eric Leung. Mason Giancarlo Brody Lewis. Ronghai Zhang. Samuel Hayden O'Donnell. Quentin J. Reedman. Isabella Jane Berry. Ava Rose Kennedy. Jen Kirshner. Celine Caney. Oscar Habarta. Genesis Melanie Rodriguez. Ardabola Omotolani Abby Peter. Fatia A. Ogunbote. Karen Akure. Olivia Cosgrove. Thomas Giangrande. Isabella Brill. Tommy Sedlock. Molly Elizabeth Greeley. Nora Coppola. Lauren Augenstein. Chelsea Tavares. Cassandra Lynn Cacciola. Jade Morgan Featherstone. Cassidy Bree Phillip. Benjamin Lawrence Portnoy. Joseph Michael Verde. Rita Rabadi. Paige Alexa Adamo. Gregory William Martin. Rachel Hua Song Rose. Jason Anglom. Elizabeth Grace McGovern. Christina Siyun Yim. Theodore Silverstein. Lucille Elizabeth Burnett. Maria Paz Burbano. Melanie Liseli Valentin. Melanie Iyari Waman. Isabel Grace Beatis. Catherine Mary Grimes. Audrey Wose Warburton. Brianna Giselle Torres Vega. Uzma Khan. Ryan E. Lang. Lillian Mary Butler. Jack Patrick Harkins. Ria Bolender. Valerie Emmanuel Nicole Lasser. Esther Zora Nikolic. Adrian Robert Finney. Emma J. Greco. Willow Hope Pakin. Brian Fernandez. Lord Alba Saras McCabe. Allison Brooke Sannel. Samantha Molly Goldman. Erica Lynn Gunderson. Linda Chen. Julianne Rose Bazicos. Jared Seth Wafsi. Yorgos Anastosis Stenos. Adeline Hernandez. Liz Paguero. Amy Trevino. Indira Ridori Jean-Baptiste. Denasia Smith. Zalea James. Ruth Alexis Aroba Ba. Max Spicer. Yeslivet D. Fernandez Silva. Olivia Reese Richmond. Keaton Heminger.
At this time, I would like to introduce the 2024 Harper College of Arts and Sciences student commencement speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you Rhea Bolander. Today, Rhea is set to receive their Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology and Bachelor's of Music in Voice. Throughout their time at the university, Rhea has not only excelled academically, but has also demonstrated remarkable leadership and a passion for both the arts and sciences. Rhea's academic prowess has earned them a place on the Dean's List in each of their semesters here at Binghamton, along with the President's honors in the Scholars Program. Rhea's contributions extend far beyond the achievements in the classroom. Rhea has served as a teaching assistant in both the music and health and wellness departments, where they have shared their passion for music and their knowledge of psychology with their peers. Additionally, Rhea has distinguished themselves as a research assistant in psychology, as an independent researcher with the Summer Scholars and Artists Program. In their leadership roles, Rhea has served as a peer mentor lead and summer student manager in the Q Center, where they have provided guidance and support to fellow students. Rhea has also served as an orientation advisor in the Office of New Student Programs, welcoming new students to our campus community and helping them navigate their transition to university life. Looking ahead, Rhea's journey continues as they prepare to work as a research assistant with aspirations of earning a PhD in cognitive psychology. With their exceptional intellect, boundless curiosity, and unwavering determination, there is no doubt that Rhea will continue to make a profound impact in their chosen field and beyond. Please join me in welcoming Rhea Bolander on their outstanding achievements and wishing them continued success as they embark on the next chapter of their academic and professional journey.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you and to be graduating. For those of you who don't know me and weren't paying attention during that lovely introduction, I'm Rhea Bolander, and I'd like to start this speech with a short anecdote about one of my first experiences here at Binghamton University, one that I think represents our resilience and adaptability as a class. Like most of us graduating right now, my freshman year began during the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in huge shifts in class structure. Only one of my classes met in person at all, choir. Inside, we could only have 12 people in a large room, and we had to be distanced 12 or more feet apart due to increased risk of spreading illness from singing. We could also practice outside, but it was often cold and hard to hear. To make things worse, we could only spend 40 minutes working on music at one time, regardless of the location. Despite these challenges, we were able to learn and connect. We adapted, and we were successful. At the end of the year, small groups who had worked together all semester got to perform their pieces for everyone else in the choir and got to watch their classmates perform as well. Everyone was incredibly supportive, and enthusiastic cheering followed each song. It was easily one of the most wholesome experiences I've had here, and I'm so proud of us for making it happen. This is only a small glimpse into our perseverance across campus and in our communities. In clubs, hall governments, classrooms, Greek life, and more. Along with the faculty and staff, we made it work. And sometimes the results even improved upon pre-pandemic standards. I believe music theory tests are now consistently take-home, which I really appreciated. I'm not saying it was easy by any means. It was scary and difficult and required true creativity and ability to accept change. There were many lonely nights where I wondered if I had made the wrong choice to begin my college career in 2020. I struggled, and I know many others did as well, with the fear of catching and spreading a frightening disease, with staying focused and on track while attending classes almost entirely over Zoom, and simply with feeling connected to the wider campus. But the way I see it, these hardships make our successes all the more valuable. The fact that we were able to take that bold step into a new phase of life and make it out on the other side shows a vivid tenacity that I personally hope future employers will value. Also demonstrated in this story is one of the first things I fell in love with at Binghamton: the depth of community that is accessible, something I was not expecting in a school almost as large as my hometown. I marveled sophomore year at one of my older friends who seemed to wave at everyone as we passed by, and felt that I could never possibly know that many people. But after 4 years, I see familiar faces in every crowd, and so do most of my friends. I've had opportunities I never would have dreamed of before coming here, from performing with a professional orchestra to giving a TEDx talk. And everyone in our class is also doing incredible things. I mean, all of you are here getting bachelor's and master's degrees, which is a feat unto itself. More important than any physical achievements, though, is our connections to people. It isn't possible for me to list everyone who has shaped my time here. I will always remember friends that I will deeply miss, faculty and staff who have earned my eternal gratitude for their support, classmates who bring up profound insights. All of these people show that it's truly the individuals here at Binghamton that make this place special. All of this is to say, everyone here graduating today is amazing. Be proud of yourself, your friends, and your peers. Our class is resilient, adaptable, and brave, and we're going to do great things. As we step into our future outside of Binghamton, we will be able to use these skills to find success in graduate school, the job field, and in strengthening our communities. Congratulations to everyone graduating, and best of luck in all your future endeavors. We're going to do great things.
Thank you, Raya. Will the baccalaureate candidates in the Department of Biological Sciences please rise? President Stenger, I am pleased to present to you all of these candidates who have fulfilled all of their baccalaureate degree requirements as prescribed by the faculty. School Marshal Pamela Smart, please lead the candidates to the platform so that all may receive recognition for their academic achievement.
Yeah. Hey, you're doing a great job. Whoa. Now we'll see what happens. These are more challenging names. Okay. Hi. How do you say your second name? Thank you. Saoirse Roisin Page Cohen. Calvin Sandler. Andrew Bernard Edelson. Bailey O'Hanlon Capel. Luke W. Grice. Jordan Jason Gong. Joel Vipanthi Benjamin. Jared R. Castro. Vaughn Robert Kuau Kobla. Nevrav Julka. Moshe Konensberg. Ilana Ayelet Sokolik. Nicole Renee Valencisi, Rachel Mannheim, Amalia Gabriela Ruiz, Ella Kimberly Pipes, Maddie Guaranieri, Abigail Rose Kane, Aliyah Erica Wright, Sarah Elizabeth Cyril, Christine Kim, Heather Matchell, Leanne Baker, Kaylin Grace Dubois, Maya Tuji, Alexis Makowski, William Atkinson, Jasmine Kaur, Shaila Singh, Sallyanne Chu, Connor Spencer Towns, Connor Patrick Angeles, Samuel R. Ramos, Benjamin Charles Paoli, Alexia Raylyn Williams, Dimitri Gamriteldi, Stephanie Kelly Lai, Ting Chen, Jianfei Li, Dominique Candelario, Catherine Mack, Sarah Scarlett Alfaro, Megan Nisia Lewis, Kira Park, Samantha Noel Prusick, Samantha May Chang, Alexandra Lauren Amendolara, Amanda Skrepek, Kylie Madison Ramaletti, Paige Maya Maroney, Catherine Ann Fritz, Sarah Pauline Tartel, Aliana Herfurth, Kevin Robert Kane, Peter Joseph Abignale Jr., Patrick Burke, Ashley Elizabeth Bryant, Sophia Ann Morales, Narissa Yi Jing Ng, Alexandria Ann Waters, Keiko Waters, Lindsay Rose Gurian, Samantha Burgee, Kayla Chandra Suknanin, Ariana May Anderson, Quincy Ray Talbot, Pavneet Kaur Johal, Sarah Eileen Borghese, Shannon Crow, Catalina Chica, Daniel Aaron Watson, Ethan William Mack, David Craidman, Isaac Cyprian Newman, Alix Rouchon, Jonathan Robert Bryan, Sophie Emily Tater, Megan Hope Zadales, Kelsey Sky Kotechi, Simon John Rebecca, Jessica Wu, Maho Toyomura, Leslie Hannah Gutierrez, Emma Leffler Roylance, Lene Iliana Plesse, Pierce Sidney Bright, Luke Christian Blumenberg, Hannah Sophia Anderson, Bridget Rose Foley, Anna Maria Brunn, Jenna Kelly Stewart, Jenna Chorney, Shay Adeline Holly, Anjali Pabi, Madison R. Wall, Emily Casey Wynn, Matthew Joseph Roach, Franklin Joel Rivadeneira, Luca Babbitt, Luis Ishmael Hernandez. Keona N. Hyacinth. Maxwell Harper Gilogi. Kayla Rose Martinelli. Nicholas James Castro. Thomas Leo. Jamila Wang. Zur Wu. Chen Lin. Ken Bijou Job. Justin Tran. Brandon Berdashevsky. James Frederick Anastasio. Jalen Jeremiah Florimond. Jalen Nicole Lau. Mirka Monica Marga. Aina Jayan Banyel. Suzette Andrade. Alisa Radhika Shah. Sarah Rebecca Livshitz. Ava Jordan Zuckerman. Elizabeth Ashlyn Smith. Elizabeth Magdalena Rivera. Robert V. Leone. Jaden Carol Kaleo. Kyra Jasmine Hushi. Prince Karmacharya. Haley Irene Ellers. Gabriela Nicole Guerrero. Alexandra Rose Musil. Shelby L. Carvolho. Shirley Ventura. Hannah Julia Maikut. Cassandra Sabine Valerie Burrows. Amanda Gianna Poggioli. Michael Edwin Jin Walsh. Graciela B. Andrada. Najeli Garces Rodriguez. Sandy Cook. Allison Brooke Ampel. Abigail Lane Blurt. Albert Kojo Brew. Pratham Dutta. Faith Iba Lebeau. Alexander Brian Di Lorenzo. Emerald M. Hall. Janelle S. Vasquez Villela. Emily Sen. Anijah Douglas. Kayla Simone Gansberg. Lauren Edelman. Sarah Grace Adelson. Harley Isabella Gold. Paige Olivia Kelleher. Gabrielle Rose Berkowitz. Jed O'Malley Danaher. Morgan Riley Dillon. James D. Muscat. Anthony Grillo. Sean Michael Moran. Kristen Riley Scheidel. Gabriela Marie Melli. Paloma Alabao Blatter. Angel Sulin Shanamami. Zaina Camelia Salome. Ashley Lynn Petrillo. Alyssa Lee Cottrell. John Francis Burns. Antonina Bari. Samantha Rose Bonventry. Sabrina Victoria Bubbis. Yarom Zev Nasir. Melissa Nana Ya Frimpoma Norman. Keneal Olivia Kalia Campbell. Fiona Wong. Maureen Gabriel. Michael L. Calandra. Noel Joshi Curriculum. Neha N. Patel, Mark Oliver Lim, Nina Wang, Mofian Folua Precious Adeole, Hamdallah Acha Fusheni, Mardia Yusuf Traore, Ashna Hai, Christiana Nietzsche, Madeline Ziesel, Anna Elizabeth Susky, Tiffany E. Descartes, Nina Perry, Gigi Chui, Wen Fen Young, Mandy Cheng, Anthony Dennis Zuniga, Allison Lee, Alice Deben Gion, Stephanie Sen, Arnav Agarwal, Benjamin Edward Goshen, Nathan Brink, Stephanie Diana Sasaguay Aguilar, Estelle Gonzalez, Selena Warden, Christian Peter C., Ricky Y. Chen, Hannah Chen, Thomas Henry Braglia, Martin Andres Merizoldi, Jagger Zachary Bailey, Albert Martin Zodola, Nicholas Kiravano, Eric J. Johnson, Shanza Nawaz, Aisha A. Niam, Catherine Elizabeth Braco, Julia G. Fitzgerald, Garrett Lamory, Mandela Simon, Thomas Christian Avalon, Ivan Yang, Nellie Diaz, Claire Park, Fernando Waking Sem He, Lydia Saranush Ochoa, Alyssa Renee Meyer, Lila Marie Pomerantz, Jahai Ferguson, Jahai Ferguson, Jin Zhang, William Lin, Isabel Grace Tozer, Muna Saeed Wadia Judah, Nora Catherine Penhollow, Andre James Wigley, Kia Sean Eshragi, Alexander Carroll, Max Cooper Rothenberg, Callahan Gubay Rogers, Jack Alexander Mroshka, Justin Craig Havemeyer, Matthew Bradford, Kenneth Francis Hildreth Jr., Corey Edward Lee Gallagher, Ryan Dominic Principato, Trevor John Salvaggio, Anthony Thomas Natoli, Madison Nicole Musenti, Brett Jovis Dobert, Sydney Caitlin Tang, Paulina Nikomova, Pablo Ramon Rolon, Yusuf Mohammed Ramadan, Benjamin Idelchik, Benjamin A. Pupko, Mark Polito. Haley Marie Quiles. Sarah Yafa Zipkowitz. Jesse Bauer. Alexandria Nicole Scarcella. Inessa Mia Nicolo. Gina Marie Gibbia. Gabriella Georgette Galeb. Allison Celia Kramer. Isabel Marie Limbert. Samuel Meyer Gilman. Jack Ryan Dehan. Luke Joseph Hobaika, Jr. Ashley Ann Jagaman. Jillian Angelina McVitie. Sydney Mulry. Jennifer Rose Owen. Gabrielle Schillman. Sophia Rose Ruggiero. Jessica Nicole Haney. Morgan Renee Perry. Megan Marie Dillon. Mimi Morse. Marissa Lauren Mazera. Emily Charlotte Fong. Alexis Riley Eastman. Anna Elizabeth Caruso. Jack Pratley. Erin Jaden Cohen. Aidan Patrick Dowd. William Andrew Ellsworth. Michael Patrick Waldron. Jonathan Rayner. John Anthony Grillo. Andrew Joseph Croce. Danielle Sarah Bryan. Madeline Angela Vitali. Nadine Morsi. Nicole Elizabeth Tomaselli. Priscilla Mignolo. Dakota Brooke Mancini. Isabella Angelina Caridi. Yael Ronit Gunter. McKenna Rose Lynch. Kara Nicole Woods. Ayana Cynthony Taylor. Goziana Chuka Okeke. Nick Dean Moderes. Yulu Sun Brown. Kevin Ziang Tan. Tadala Mawase. Joshua Aranzize Kuchu Ikunze. Njeko Chisholm Wakile. Riley Malone. Isabel Joanne Seville. Ella Rauch. Analia Serafina Passagiata. Yasha Chandrakanth Patel. Gabriella Nina Dan. Jordan Matthew Bennett. Aaron Tigran Arakelian. Arthur J. O'Sullivan. Michael Ian Hayes. Helena Lauren Luden. Giselle May Inigo Talentino. Brianna Baugh. Nathan Michael Wilkins. Christina Julia Dementieva. Christina Yavdoshniak. Megan Page Lovett. Lauren Hope Lovett. Emma Foster. Olivia Minogue. Emily Sarah Monahan. Michael Ryan Tyrell. Catherine Elizabeth Sheridan. Ashley Schuyler Hirsch. Catherine Grace Heitner. Eileen Nicole Pincus. Julio Michelle Gersman. Rebecca Ashirzadeh. Stephanie Victoria Stryapko. Olivia Marshall. Michael S. Bleiberg. Kyle Weeks. Abigail Emma Ackroyd. Olivia Ann Leisengang. Laura Prusinski Goldstein. Bridget C. May. Micaiah Bagcal. Lilia Rose Bartolotta. Alexa Marie Vargas. Keegan T. Ferguson. Christian Travis Cincotta. Ashley Lauren Doherty. Rachel Karen Lickenstein. Stephanie Lee Gatto. Oisin Morris O'Sullivan. Ian Thomas Walsh. Noah Niager. Zachary Samuel Antwarg Hebert. Suraj Sajjani. Amar Roy. Jessica Josephine Krause. Samantha Ward. Hunter Christopher Akins. Haley Ariana Jorenko. Emma Elizabeth Murata. Colin John Kapusinski. Ryan Thomas Kapusinski. Samuel Augustus Carter. Cameron Alexander Cummings. Madeline Grace Stark. Aya Marie Holcomb. Karina Marie Zelinsky. Francis Gabriel Tolentino San Diego. Nicholas Joseph Fasulo. Ethan Connor Hurry Haranko. Joyce Hu. Rishman Shri Tatipelli. Eliza Grace O'Brien. Ria Sa. Hui Min Win. Katrina Chung. Daniela Leah Ilulian. Elena Rose Bianco. Jennifer Solange Iniguez. Dianara Nicole Iniguez. Cassandra Svia Smutny. Rachel Marie Borale. Janine Marie Cavallone. Hope Therese Zhang. Ki Tong Wu. Tai F. Carpanello. Nicholas Christian Perillo. Brian Chu. Joshua Mingo. John Hyo Jung Kim. Nina Rose Petrangeli. Aisha D. Patel. Yutka Chiguripati. Reem Abdelhalim Nada. Sasrika Rajan. Brooke Adelia Smith. Anta Paula Tall. Jasmine Angelica Tejeda Herrera. Elena Delicado Dominguez. Ellie Color. Alexa Victoria Roleri. Louise Matri Austriaco. Mason Day. Jacob M. Barth. Isabella Amaro. Grace D. Temper. Xiaoxun Li, Alita Lin, Mei Mei, Casey Liang, Amanda P. Sutu, JB Barreto Lapido, Jasmine E. Orgo, Kelly Chen, Ashley Huang, Ashish Johnson, Aman Mushtaq Fruitwala, Caleb C. Carpenter, Dennis Armitage, Ian Burks, Nicole Luparello, Dawn Luparello, Ting Rong Shi, Jason Yu, Brett C. Powell, Vincent Lam, Danielle Amanfo Boateng Atacora, Diogo Felipe Cardoso, Emily M. McCaffrey, Shakira Condoleezza Khalil, Lauren Ali Bulko, Catherine Elizabeth Botellion, Logan Thomas Jakubowski, Fiona Aaron Smith, Juliana R. Diaz, Ryan J. Cote, Abigail Obeng, Shama Kazal Dutta, Ada Kimberly Lee, Adelis Augusto, Faisal Yusuf Shayub, Ellen M. Lataria, Alisa Maria Racinos, Matthew Robert DePercio, Javon Thomas, Adrian Wu, Adal.
I would now like to ask everyone to rise as they are able as we sing the Binghamton University Alma Mater. We invite everyone to join in singing the refrain and second verse. The lyrics may be found on the back cover of the commencement program.
The rolling hills of Binghamton
Baccalaureate degree candidates, please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated. President Stenger, I am honored to present to you these candidates for the baccalaureate degree by the university.
For those who have successfully completed all degree requirements by the authority vested in me by the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York and the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York, I confer on each of you the appropriate baccalaureate degree with all the rights and privileges accompanying it. On behalf of the Binghamton University community, I congratulate you all for this well-earned accomplishment. As is customary upon conferral of the baccalaureate degree, you may now move the tassel on your cap from the right to the left. All stand, all stand. Ladies and gentlemen, parents, partners, and friends, I present to you the Binghamton University Harper College of Arts and Sciences, class of 2024! Woo!
I have to follow that. The spring commencement proceedings of the State University of New York at Binghamton are now concluded. We kindly ask the audience to remain seated for the academic recessional. Once the academic recessional is completed, please exit as soon as you are able.
Thank you.